Hey guys, I wanted to do kind of go back through a video I did, I don't know, I guess it's probably 7 or 8 months ago now. Had quite a few views on it, but it was talking about fermenting in kegs, and I thought maybe what I would do is break down a few of the things that I did in there, some things I've updated since then, things I've learned from other folks, and I'll try to make sure I mention who those folks are as I go through it. But questions I'd gotten during the course of those videos, so comments, people would ask questions, made me think about process, which is always a good thing. So when you get questioned about something, you should go back through and, all right, why do I do something? And is there a better way of doing it? And that's one of the things I've tried to put in a lot of my videos, is that people have better thoughts, processes. I'd love to learn from other people, because you kind of go through and question it. You can come up with either, yes, it's the best way that I have available to me without more equipment. No, it's not the best way, and there's a better way of doing it. So I don't think there's ever a only way or the right way. Might be a way that you can do with the process you have, with the equipment you have. But as you kind of go along, updating things, you have the ability to change processes. So some of the things I've done in terms of going through and fermenting in kegs. So I have two corny kegs. These are the pin lock style. This is what I typically ferment in. What I've done over the last I guess 2 or 3 months, something like that, is I found that I'd like to have a full 5 gallons, and that's a big question I've gotten, is if you ferment in 5 gallons, you can't have a full 5 gallons into a serving keg. So what I've done is I've basically gone to 6 gallon batches, 3 gallons in each, and just split. If I'm going to do pressure fermenting, I have a spunding valve, and what I've done is basically just created a T. So just Harbor Freight, just a simple brass T, 2 flared ends into 2 pin locks, and then if I'm not fermenting under pressure, I just take it off of this, put that into star sand, and I have a regular airlock through these. If I want to pressure ferment, then I just put my spunding valve on it, set it to where I want. Right now I'm at 10 pounds. This is a NEPA, a hazy. I'm trying the new Trident hops that we got from Hopsteiner, I believe it was. I'll double check that, but I'm pretty sure it was Hopsteiner we got that from. It is a blend of hops, so I'm trying that. So I also tried dip hopping, and I will try to remember to put a link in the description below. Gary, main brew guy at Tap Out Brewing, did a video on that. So I'm trying that instead of whirlpooling. I tried that with these, and then I'm going to dry hop with it as well. But the point of this video is purging a keg. When you're doing hazies, and really any beer style at all, would benefit from this not having oxygen. So one of the things I do like about fermenting in kegs is I don't have to worry about oxygen permeation from my transfers, from anything else I'm doing. So I currently have my serving keg. You should see a video of that here in a second. I've got this filled up, and I'll show you here. I'll show you that now.
All right, serving keg, filling it up with straight water. Put a full ounce of star sand in it, so that will be a full 5 gallons of star sand that we will purge out here in just a minute. So we are almost full. Got the floating dip tube in there, just updated that, about enough for all of my kegs, so everything will have floating dip tubes in it. So I will show you the process that I use for purging here in just a second.
So you saw this being filled up. This is new water, fresh water I should say, a new batch of star sand, so 1 ounce of star sand in 5 gallons from 5 Star Chemicals. So thank you very much for being a sponsor, 5 Star. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook these two up, take my spunding valve off, put a like basically a piggyback onto this, and then use the fermentation CO2 that's happening during these right now. This is 2 days in, so I know I've got full fermentation going. I've tested it a little bit and know I've got fermentation happening right now, and I'm going to push the star sand out of this, so I'll have a fully CO2 purged keg, but using naturally created CO2 instead of having to use it out of my actual canister and spending money that way. So if I have the ability to save a couple of bucks during this, why not go through it during the process? So I will get that set up and show you that process now.
So what I found to be helpful, because I'm using both pin lock and ball lock kegs, is just to have a couple of lengths of this type of tubing. It's just beverage tubing, just your regular 3/16 ID type of tubing with just your normal screw-on types of fittings here. I've got some extra fittings that I can go back and forth between pin lock and ball lock. I had 2 pin lock kegs, and that's where I kind of went to in terms of I ferment in the pin lock kegs, and I try to serve out of my ball lock, but I can do any of these. But having something like this, you can kind of flip-flop back and forth between them, and it kind of makes a lot of sense. So one of these lines is going to hook up to where the spunding valve is now, and then that is the other end of that's going to get the gas lock or gas ball lock fitting, and then the other one is going to get the ball lock for the liquid side, and then to the other end of that out into a bucket, and I'm going to push the star sand back into that bucket. That is right there. That's an empty, clean bucket. I typically try to keep my star sand between batches to do this type of thing, and then I will kind of swap it out. You know, during a brew, you're going to use some of it up, and then I'll try to clean it up, use it for a couple of brews, and then get rid of it as we go along. It kind of starts to lose its effectiveness, so I try to keep some of it on hand all the time for doing those types of things. So let me get this stuff set up, and then I will show you what I have. So I'll get you a closer look. So again, that's just a simple brass tee. You can get that Harbor Freight, Home Depot, any of those types of things, and then just 3 flared ends that go into it. So you've got a T that comes down. This is actually a coupling that goes in, so you can, because that's a male end that comes out, female, female. 2 flared ends. I put a coupling on there so I could get another male end into that flare, and then a check valve that goes into that. So that's a one-way airflow that comes through, making sure that I don't have any, you know, if I have an overflow or anything like that, it won't get into my spunding valve. So if you have another way of doing this, you can do that. But simply all I'm going to be doing is taking this T, hooking this back up, make sure you have a pair of pliers. I apologize, my hands, I'm sealing my driveway at the same time. I'm waiting on some stuff to dry. So had some time to do some beer work around here, so I apologize. Get nice little snugged up. So now we are connected. So the air out of both of these, let's see if I get this moved here a little bit. Sorry about the camera work. So now I've got both gas fittings are hooked up to this. I have them detached right now, so it wouldn't be pushing out. And then what I will do is simply push down and push down. I've already got the gas fitting there, and we're starting to push star sand out. So again, it's just a simple, and you could do this with a single keg. You don't have to do it with 2. I just happen to have 2 here. So you could just run one of that right over to here. So you could just have the simple jumper. So you could go from gas to gas, liquid out. Again, I'm using this T because I'm using 2 kegs. But again, we're pushing star sand into there right now. So I let these sit, I don't know, probably 5-10 minutes while I was setting up for the film here to get the camera set up. I undid these 2 to build up a little bit of pressure, so I know I could push enough over, and then I will just hook up the spunding valve back onto it and let it continue to ferment at 10 pounds until it's time to dry hop. So hopefully this is helpful. I will wait for that to bubble and finish up, and then I know I have then a completely CO2 purged keg there, and I don't have to worry about having to do anything with that, and then I can then transfer. I think what I'll try to do is break this up into smaller chunks. I know the last video I did, I think it was 20 or 25 minutes, so it's a lot to go through, and I did not tag at each timestamp as I go through a different process. So I was thinking about trying to break this down and then kind of talk about things I've changed over the course of time with it. So, all right, well, I hope that's not too long. Hopefully it's a nice quick video. If it's helpful to you, hopefully it works. If you are trying to do low oxygen or no oxygen transfers and trying to purge kegs with naturally CO2 created during fermentation. All right, guys, hope everybody's having a great day. Sláinte.